Well, we've had quite a weekend, friends. We celebrate our patron saint, St. Timothy, and perhaps you're watching the Sunday cycle in some sort of a publication, and you're saying, well, we didn't use the readings for Sunday. Well, several years ago, we approached Father Kieran, who was the director of liturgy in the diocese. He has passed on, and we asked him if we could transfer the St. Timothy feast day to the weekend, to Sunday, and he said yes, because that's your patron saint, you can do that. So we've been doing that for a number of years. We've had really just quite a weekend. St. Timothy was born in a place called Lystra. It's in Asia Minor, in what we call Turkey today. And somebody told me recently that Turkey has changed its name in English because the folks there don't like English-speaking people to refer to their country as a critter that we eat on Thanksgiving. And so I don't know if it's Turkia or some other pronunciation, but I'll find out soon, I'm sure. St. Timothy was the son of a Jewish woman, Eunice, and his father was a Gentile, a Greek. And Paul met him and took him on his second missionary journey. Paul was very impressed with him. Paul, in his references to him throughout the New Testament, he has this, is more than it's a mentor and a protege. It's like father and son to Paul. Paul calls him my beloved and faithful child in the Lord. He also calls him our brother and fellow worker. Paul sent him to Thessalonica to build up and encourage the Christian community there and to fight against the oppression that was going on there against Christianity. He later joined Paul in Corinth. He was sent to Macedonia and the Erastus. He went to, when Paul was in prison, he mentions Timothy in his letters in Colossians and Philemon and Philippians. Timothy became bishop of Ephesus, and he organized the Christian community there. He opposed the pagan practices of those who lived there, especially when they were worshiping the goddess Diana. And he stood up against that, and for that he was stoned to death. Someday I hope to bring you to Ephesus. It's a really amazing place to visit. The ruins there are phenomenal, especially of the library. And then you can see the marble pavers on the street and the chariot ruts in the marble pavers. And you just look and you say, those chariot ruts were made at the time in which Paul and Timothy were here. It's absolutely amazing. I wanted to speak a little bit about our community of St. Timothy. Deacon Chris did this last night at our Vigil Mass. So we are celebrating this week for, 3-4 days. If you notice, the wind was blowing when I came over, and it was able to, we have a St. Timothy flag underneath the papal flag, and it was unfurled and flapping in the breeze, and it has an image of St. Timothy on it, created by one of our staff members, and it says in Latin, St. Timothy, pray for us. It's just a beautiful addition to our parish that we just hung up a couple of days ago. So if you go out, take a look. It's the flagpole that's the furthest north. We've been celebrating these days, and yesterday we had a Eucharistic procession that was really beautiful. We were moving about through Dobson Ranch with the monstrance carrying the Blessed Lord in his Eucharistic presence. And we had the knights there, we had altar servers there, we had people from the parish there. And as we were moving about, at first we were silent. And you could just hear the footfalls as we walked along the sidewalk in Dobson Ranch. And one of the little boys says, "Why is it so quiet?" And it's like, well, this is kind of part of the journey, you know, that we silence ourselves and we listen and we wait for the Lord. And then about halfway through, one of the dads started the joyful mysteries of the Rosary, and we prayed those. And it's amazing. Chad, our sound engineer and director of liturgy, he had timed everything. And he was in front of the procession with the red flag, making sure cars didn't run over us, back into us, all these other things. He was protecting us. As we arrived at the beginning of the church, after we made the round through Dobson Ranch, I looked at my watch and it was exactly 4:30, which was his plan. And I'm like, this guy is really good. Yeah. And we came in, we had benediction and benediction and reposition. It was beautiful. Before that, on Friday, we had a big party in the parking lot. I mean, we had music. There were folks that were dancing. We had food, we had games, we had crafts. You could build your own rosary. We had a beer and wine garden, saw a lot of people over there. Cotton candy machine that was broken, and one of our staff members was able to get parts and fix it. We had religious goods for sale. We had great conversation, great company, great fellowship. It was just very, very joyful. You know, this parish was founded on March 1st, 1978. And Deacon Chris, when he preached last night, he reminded us that they moved into this building in 1983. So he said, look, it's been 40 years since we moved into this church building, because when they came here, when the original members came here, it was just dirt. And they built this church, and so they moved in. And what a community it is, and still is. It's a community of godly enthusiasm. It's a community of service, a community of fellowship that welcomes children, right? We have the daycare and preschool. We have our Catholic school, and we're celebrating Catholic Schools Week. Have you noticed that our servers and our readers and a lot of kids are here wearing their school uniforms, and we have, you know, some of our teachers out there in the vestibule at the tables. We certainly welcome you to stop by. We have a school. We have Edge. We have Life Teen. We have ministry to young adults. We are a community that loves liturgy, a community that loves singing. Bishop Olmsted himself commented when he was here for my installation how well he thought the congregation sang. It's not something that's common or ordinary at other parishes. We're a community that avails itself of the sacrament of penance. There are a lot of folks that come here for confession. And I remember when Father Shea was here, we would come down the steps. He'd always look and see how many were here. And if there were a lot, he would say, yeah, the bus came. And what he meant by that was just kind of this fictitious bus that picks people up and brings them to confession and drops them off here. We are a community that loves to get together, that, you know, whatever reason it is, we get together. We're a community that asks, what do you need? We're a community of generosity. I am just blown away by the generosity of this parish. So at the 10 o'clock Mass, I talked about I had desired that we would get vestments for our feast day. And my plan was I had a trip to Chicago for a conference, and I wanted to get there a little early to go to the clerical tailor that I like. They're a very, very good family that owns that business, and have them create a chasuble and a couple of dalmatics. I'm probably going to, have it in gold with green banding, and then one of our parishioners has been working diligently at one of her hobbies, which is the embroidery of emblems, and she's embroidered a beautiful emblem of St. Timothy that will go right in the middle. And unfortunately, my plane, the flight was canceled, so I got into Chicago very late that night, and I didn't have time to go over there. And I said, if you want to assist us, because right now, the way the finances are looking, there's more going out than coming in, so I don't want to shock my director of finance with a $2,500 bill. I said, if you want to support us, contact the office. Somebody came out after Mass, handed me a check. I went home, I opened it up, $2,500. That is St. Timothy Catholic Church. That's the way they operate. So we'll have those vestments next year for our feast day, and we can use them on other days too. This is a community that loves praise and worship. We have our XLT event this week, and people love to get together and adore the Lord, and even people that are live streaming join us, even from different countries. We are a community that takes ownership of its parish. This is very real here. This is my parish, and I'm on for this. I'm on for that. I am responsible. This is the mentality of the people that come here. And this is a community that loves. They love God and they love one another, which is biblical. Why? Why is that? Why is this community so steeped in doing what a Catholic parish should do? And I believe it's the intercession of St. Timothy. St. Timothy, who's so meek and so humble. Like St. Joseph, he never says a word in the scriptures, but he is behind the scenes praying for us and assisting us and leading us to Jesus.